Hello there and welcome to this Astranti bite-sized video. In this video today we're going to be looking at corporate governance and ethics, and this video is an extract from our E1 video from our full course of CIMA materials. Now, in this video more specifically, we're going to be looking at corporate social responsibility, which is broadly important as corporate governance and ethics comes up in a variety of topic areas across CIMA. So we've got E1 naturally, we've got F1, it comes up in places in F2 when you get into integrated reporting, it comes up again when you look at sustainability reporting in F3, and so you can see that it's spread across the whole CIMA syllabus. So why are we looking at CSR? Well, the famous economist Milton Friedman once said that the primary responsibility, the only social responsibility of a business, is to generate profit. Now, back when he said that, that might have been the case, but nowadays CSR is considered a core foundation for many businesses, something that many businesses care about quite a lot. So we're going to be looking at how corporate social responsibility applies to businesses in the CIMA context and what we might need to know for your CIMA exam. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Anthony, who will go through corporate social responsibility with you for this E1 topic.
And I want to begin this section by asking you a question. Have you ever wondered why big companies give to charity, or perhaps why they promote certain ethical choices? Now, in fact, it's probably not down to their social conscience, and in fact is more to do with their CSR policy. Now, corporate social responsibility is basically, as the name suggests, a company's responsibility to society. And CSR policies tend to cover issues such as environmental policies and sustainability, health and safety, how a business treats its staff, charitable work and contribution, and supporting local communities. So, that hasn't helped us answer why do big companies give to charity. So, let's bring up two benefits for the business, and the first is brand differentiation and reputation. Now, in crowded marketplaces, companies need to find a unique selling proposition that separates them from the competitors in the minds of the consumers. Now, what CSR can do is play a role in building customer loyalty based on distinctive ethical values. So you can see we've got the Co-op logo on there, the American Apparel logo on there. They are all built on ethical values. Now, one that's not listed is The Body Shop. That's a very famous beauty chain in the UK, and that was started based on the ethical value that none of its products were tested on animals. And now it also ensures that all their products are from fair trade suppliers as well. It's built its whole brand on this ethical value. Now, if you think about it, let's imagine you have the Body Shop on a high street, and next door you've got another chain that offers similar beauty products, but they don't say their products aren't tested on animals. They don't say their products are fair trade. Now, they might be, but perhaps then the consumer chooses Body Shop based on those ethical values rather than actually the products. So our first benefit of CSR is brand differentiation. Okay, and our second benefit is about avoiding regulation. Now, this stems from the fact that corporations are really keen to try to avoid any interference in their business by the government, perhaps through taxation or regulation. And so by taking voluntary steps, they can persuade governments and the wider public that they are taking issues such as health and safety, diversity, or the environment seriously. So for example, let's imagine that there was regulation in place that forced an industry to cut its carbon emissions by 30%. Well, what that corporation and what that industry would prefer is to try to convince the government that they are already taking steps to cut carbon emissions, and so they don't need that regulation in place. That's what we mean by a benefit of avoiding regulation. Okay, now let's take a look to see how CSR is perceived in different parts of the world, because different countries tend to have different views on CSR. In the United States, for example, philanthropy is often the approach that is favored. For example, by the end of 2015, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation had given away $37 billion. Now, Bill Gates decided to give away his huge wealth as part of the foundation rather than through doing good within his company, Microsoft. whereas in Europe, the focus is often on being responsible, acting ethically and doing what is right, with most large European companies having active CSR rules and policies, whilst in developing countries, CSR is more limited, partly because of weaker regulation by governments and cultures where it is yet to be seen as important. Now, one driver of change in these countries is that Western companies need to be seen to be CSR focused from a reputational perspective, and so are forcing change in practices in their foreign suppliers. So that's how CSR is perceived around the world. What we're going to do now is look at a variety of ways in which CSR can be built into an organization. And the first of those is using its mission statement. So what we're suggesting here is that CSR values are included within the mission statement. And in fact, this has become quite common practice. Now, what this does is it creates focus for directors when they are setting strategy, and it makes sure CSR is built into that strategy. Now, creating focused CSR objectives with clear plans for achievement also helps to focus the CSR activity, especially when these plans are linked to managerial performance and reviewed regularly. Because of course, if it's linked to managerial performance, then the managers are going to make sure it happens, going to push it through, it's going to become aligned with their own targets. Another way it can be built into organization is through CSR policies, and we've seen, haven't we, this is quite common in Europe. Now, a CSR policy is simply an internal statement of rules and expectations on CSR issues to be applied within the organization. And of course, if the organization has these policies, then every member of staff knows what's expected of them with regard to CSR policies. And remember, CSR can include things such as the environment and sustainability. So all the employees will be acting with these thoughts at the top of their mind. The way CSR is applied in America is obviously philanthropy, and it's another way that CSR can be built into an organization. Now, we've seen a common element of CSR is philanthropy, and this includes monetary donations and aid given to local organizations and impoverished communities worldwide. So simply here, to make sure that CSR is built into an organization can be philanthropic and donate money and aid to the needy. Another way it can be done is through benchmarking. Now, benchmarking can be used for a variety of things, but with regard to CSR, it can help an organization compare their CSR performance against other organizations. Now, what it involves is reviewing competitor CSR initiatives, as well as measuring and evaluating the impact that those policies have on society and the environment. And then we move on to social accounting, auditing, and reporting. Now, social accounting involves accounting for and reporting on social and environmental effects of a company's economic actions, because of course then it means the company's paying attention to what it's doing. A number of reporting guidelines or standards have been developed to serve as frameworks for social auditing, accounting, and reporting, and these include the Global Reporting Initiative Sustainability Guidelines and the iOS 14000 Environmental Management Standard. Now, many companies now produce externally audited annual reports that cover sustainable development and CSR issues. These are called triple bottom line reports. But the reports vary widely in format, style, and evaluation methodology, even within the same industry. So there we go. That's how you can build CSR into an organization, a variety of techniques.
Right, and so that brings us to the end of this little sample that you've seen on corporate governance. So just remember that you can get this full course of materials at Astranti.com. And if you want to get in touch with us or with any of the tutors, if you have any burning questions you want to ask, then you can go to our various social media channels. So you can visit us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram. If you have any questions, by all means get in touch. We're more than happy to answer. And so with that, I wish you all the best in your CIMA studies.